Hello Libra, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of it, so we'll look at your energy, their energy, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we'll be looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section will be looking at what is the deeper purpose of this connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you're a cross watcher, just know that this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Libra, as always, we're going to start with overall energy through oracle cards, and then we'll dive deeper into the story with tarot as we progress. So let's start, Libra, looking at your side of this connection between you and the person you're dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. Wild card. So you see this person and this connection is very unpredictable. I feel like there's a lot of ups and downs. I was literally going to say ups and downs, and then you get breakups and makeups here. This breakups and makeups card doesn't necessarily need to mean there's like full separations and then, coming back together, but just, distance and ups and downs and lefts and rights. And I feel like that's kind of the energy that you hold toward this person. I feel like you see them as somebody who you feel a lot of good things with. And I feel like those good things make the not so good things worth it. But I feel like sometimes things end up feeling so not good that you do kind of sit there and you're like, what's going on? Like, what do I expect from them? Are they going to show up today? Are they going to be there? Am I going to push them away? And I feel like there's so much unpredictability in this that it's hard for you to find your footing. It feels like there's just constantly kind of this lack of security. But let's look at why. What this person's energy toward Libra, because I feel like you're confused about this. Like, you're like, why do things go from good to bad? Like, why do things go from feeling good to feeling stressful, or why do they react this way, or whatever the case is. It's like you're trying to make sense of this person's behavior in a way. This person's energy toward you. Whoa. Okay. Ooh, interference. Triggered. Reciprocity. And then there is healing. But it's almost like something is interfering with their healing, with the reciprocity. Because this is like, and then, yeah, that keeps them in this triggered energy. So it feels like this person has the same feelings for you that you do them. I feel like they care about this connection, and I feel like they want this connection to work, but it's really interesting because I feel like you wouldn't guess that based on how they act. I feel like because they are so wishy-washy and back and forth and left and right and up and down, you're like, I have no idea how this person feels. I don't know what they want. And so I do feel that what's coming through in this is that they do want things to work. But then there's this interference card. There's something that's getting in the way of them showing up for this. And I don't necessarily know what that is yet. I feel like we'll see when we dive deeper into this. I don't necessarily feel like it's a third party or anything like that. I feel like this is more about like the energy that they're in than it is about something outside of them and the connection, if that makes sense. Truth of the connection between Libra and this person. But I do feel like the feelings are mutual, which is maybe what makes things even more confusing, is you're like, well, if they did, want this to work, then they wouldn't do these things, or they would act this way instead of this way. And I feel like that is making things, even more confusing for you in the end. Truth of the connection between Libra and this person. Trapped. It's like you feel stuck in this cycle with this person. You want things to improve. You want things to get better. You want things to play out a certain way, but you keep coming back to like some familiar outcome, whether it's their distance, whether it is like a breakup or a separation. And I feel like you're sitting there going, I don't know what else to do. So I feel like there's more to the story either you're not aware of or you're trying to control in some way. And not like that you're a controlling person, but you know, sometimes we try to change people, right? Instead of letting people be where they're at. And the more we try to change people, the more that we get disappointed with the person that they do end up showing up as consistently, even though we want them to be someone different. Unfinished business with trapped. So I feel like this connection has never fully reached its potential. And I think that you know that, and I think that they know that. I don't feel like that's something that like, I don't feel like that's a secret by any means. I feel like you both feel and see this as something that has a lot of potential, but something that isn't quite reaching that potential. And I feel like that is, again, what makes things so confusing, because you're like, I see this potential. I see how they, you know, that they really do care about me, that they have these feelings. And then I see where we keep ending up. And it's like, I don't know how to kind of bridge that gap. Let's see, though. Overall theme of this reading for Libra. What does Libra need to know about this connection, about this person? I'll read these in a second, but sometimes individually they don't create the clearest message. And so I feel like I like to usually pull 2 to 3. And then once I do, okay, it kind of presents itself as a fuller message. But it says, you have, we will overcome this. Allow for time and space with second option. So the way that I'm seeing this is, I feel like you have this mindset of like, if we can get through this, if we could break through this like loop that we're in and get to the other side, things could be so good. You know, there's that potential there. There's all of this wonderful energy that I feel we could experience together. Like, if we could just get here, you know, it will be worth it. And I feel like that's why you've put up with a lot in this connection, especially because I feel like this isn't like you. I feel, Libra, like you don't typically put up with so much, but I feel because it's this person and because you do see so much potential in them, you have put up with a lot more than usual. I feel like right now, your guys' energies are so intertwined and you're so caught up in the energy of this connection that it's almost making it hard for you to see things clearly. Sometimes when we're so caught up in like, I want it to be this person and I need them, and if it's not them, it's never going to be anybody else, we get really blinded by what we actually need. You know, we think that we need the connection, and I'm not saying that there's no hope here necessarily, but what I'm saying is that when we separate ourselves from the needs of another person and from what we feel we have to do to make somebody else happy or make somebody else love us, we get clearer on what our needs are and what's going to make us happy, whether that's being chosen, you know, loved, valued, prioritized. Because in this connection, especially with the second option card, there's something that this person prioritizes over you and over this connection. And I don't necessarily feel like it's one specific thing. I feel like it's always something. I feel like you're always behind something else, like maybe treated not necessarily like a priority, but you know, this person is there when it's convenient. And I don't think that this person necessarily does that on purpose. Like, I don't feel like they're like using you or anything like that. I don't get that vibe. But it's important for you to know that you do deserve to be prioritized, right? You deserve to be chosen. You deserve to be valued. You deserve to have that love that you desire. And I feel like you do see that as a possibility in this connection, which is why you've kind of held on to the potential in it, which of course, anybody in your position would. But I feel like Spirit is saying there is a cycle here that keeps repeating. You keep ending up back in the same place with this person, and there's a need to break out of that cycle. Because if this cycle doesn't break, then you're going to continue to be in the same place with this person over and over and over again. And the flip side to that is, even if it's not being in the same place with this person, if the cycle here doesn't break, you might find yourself in the same cycle with somebody else as well. So there's a lesson that needs to be learned here, something that needs to be addressed so that you can break out of the cycle of not having the love that you deserve. Because I feel like that's what this is all about, ultimately. It's about you not having the love that you deserve. Now, in the context of this connection, I feel like you're seeing that through the lens of what this person does or doesn't do. But I feel like big picture, it's you not having the love that you deserve, and that continuing to show up in some sort of a cycle in this dynamic. So with that being said, let's break this down further, Libra. You have breakups and makeups with wild card. This is Libra's energy toward the person they are dealing with. Let me tell you, for some reason today, Libra, I feel so connected to the flow of these messages. And I feel like Spirit wants to bring so much clarity to you, because I feel like you have been struggling a lot with this connection. And I feel like specifically maybe even struggling around feeling like very undeserving of love, or unlovable, or not capable of having the love that you deserve because of how this connection keeps unfolding. And I feel like Spirit really wants to bring your attention to specifics about what's going on below the surface, so that you understand that those things aren't true. I mean, it's natural to feel that way, right? When somebody isn't choosing us or prioritizing us, but that doesn't mean that you are never going to have the love that you deserve and desire, even if it does kind of feel like that based on how things are unfolding as of right now. So with that being said, Libra, let's look a little bit deeper into this energy. So 2 of Cups in reverse. Currently, I feel like you are in a separation with this person. That is way too many cards. I want clear, concise messages, please. I like when 1 or 2 cards at a time come out, because, again, I feel like it helps kind of put together a story. So 8 of Swords with the Devil. 2 of Cups in reverse. There's that energy of feeling very trapped again, feeling trapped in the cycle, almost like you have to be put through this, like you have to hold on, you have to, oh my goodness, okay, 3 of Swords. You have to make it work with them. If it's not them, you're never going to be as happy, you're never going to be as loved, you're never going to have anything as good. Like, I feel like that's a lot of your mindset around this, and maybe it's because this was at one point as good as it's ever felt for you before, but it kind of feels like this cycle here keeps breaking your heart. You're finding yourself back in this position of just being consistently heartbroken by them, and specifically by the choices and the decisions that they make. Okay. I mean, it's because you have this Justice in reverse, Ace of Wands, 3 of Swords. I don't know if I read those off. Sometimes I try to read off the cards, but sometimes I get so caught up in channeling that I forget to. So it's obvious that you are getting a little bit screwed over in this connection. Maybe more than a little bit, maybe a lot of it. And I feel like you have such strong feelings toward this person that there's this energy of being very forgiving. I feel like you're very, maybe not, more so than, not that being forgiving is a bad thing, but I almost feel like because it's them and because you have such strong feelings, it's almost like you look past a lot of things, or maybe because you feel so connected to them or you understand them, it's easy for you to have empathy for the decisions that they make and to understand where they're coming from and why they do the things that they do. All of this makes a lot of sense, right? But with this 8 of Swords, I feel like this connection is really reflecting back at you, the way that things keep unfolding, keep reflecting back to you the limiting beliefs that you currently carry when it comes to the love that you believe that you can have. I feel like this connection never quite reaches what it is that you desire, and it keeps you stuck in believing that you can never have that. And I feel like that's why it's like every single time that this connection ends in separation, or this person does something, you know, that doesn't align with your worth or your value, it puts you back in this position of being like heartbroken, because it's opening these wounds that have told you time and time again, like, you're unlovable, you can't have the love that you deserve and desire, it's not possible for you. And I feel like this person reflects a lot of that back to you, which makes things just extra hard, because not only is it rewounding you in a lot of ways, but it's also making you feel like the only way that you will ever feel good in love is through them. And a lot of times we do that, right? We seek the healing and we seek the solution in the people who wound us. And we do this because we think that our healing and our ability to be happy and loved and abundant and all of those things lives within, you know, their power. And I see this a lot in the concept of the twin flame, or in the concept of like, oh, they're my person, they're my soulmate, you know, whatever. And even with like familial connections, you know, when we are wounded or hurt time and time again, we hold these people to a different standard, and we say, well, let me see what I can do to get you to love me, to get you to choose me, to get you to value me. And we, in that process, and this is kind of what I was getting at when I was saying like the energy is so intertwined, that it makes it really hard for you to see what you need, because I feel like a lot of your focus has been, what can I be to make sure that this person doesn't leave, or that this person finally chooses me or loves me or values me. And I don't feel like you do it intentionally, but I do feel like there is a little bit of an attachment here that says, if this person doesn't choose me, love me, value me, be with me, whatever, I'm never going to be as happy, loved, abundant as I would be if they did. And that gives all of your power away. And I feel like specifically the way that this dynamic is very structured, I feel like that is almost like intentional. You know, it's intentional, because sometimes when something reflects back to us all of our wounding, it also reflects back to us all of our hopes and dreams, right? Because it says, here are all the ways, you know, in which you're wounded, but here are all the ways in which this could potentially heal you. But the thing is, if we search for our healing in the same dynamics that wound us, we're going to keep getting rewounded, right? So I feel like something like that keeps popping up in this connection, and there's a need to address what's going on below the surface a little bit more. But with that being said, let's jump on over to their energy. Let's see what this person has going on, because I feel like this is a very complicated person that you're dealing with. They're very complicated situation. Like, it's not so black and white. This person's energy toward you, interference with reciprocity, and to be honest with you, it never is. It's never black and white, right? There's always so much more to the story, which is why I feel like I like doing readings this way, because I feel like I can get the full picture of what's going on. This person's energy toward you, interference with reciprocity. This person, the Page of Swords in reverse, whoa, with the Magician in reverse, right out of the gate. King of Pentacles. This person's more interested in how their life looks to others than how it feels. And I feel like, yeah, that keeps them in their own cycle here. So this is really interesting. No, that's in reverse. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Yeah, this is really interesting. Okay. Page of Swords in reverse right out of the gate gave this energy of not being authentic, not being genuine. But the thing is I don't necessarily feel like that's with you. I do feel like this person does have like genuine and authentic feelings for you. But what's interesting about how they view this connection, I mean, here you are, Queen of Swords, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. I feel like you're coming out in their energy. Hang on, I want to clarify their energy toward the Queen of Swords here. And then I'll finish what I was saying. The Hierophant. Ooh. Okay. It's not that they're not authentic or genuine toward your connection. Like, I do feel like their feelings for you are real. I don't feel like they're faking. I don't feel like they're trying to manipulate you or anything like that. It doesn't mean they're not being manipulative. I'm saying I don't think that they're trying to. And I'll explain more what I mean by that in a second. I feel like this connection is very different than what they're used to. And I feel like they have this tendency to be what they feel that they need to be for the people around them. So a lot of times what that means is when people are choosing a path or a situation that aligns with what other people expect of them, they typically don't make decisions that align with their heart, but they make decisions that align with their ego. So they make decisions from this place of repeating what is typical for them. What is typical, what they're used to, what people in their life are used to, the decisions that the people in their life are used to them making. And that keeps them stuck and experiencing the same thing over and over again, right? So here's what's interesting, is this person's caught in their own kind of, especially the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, kind of falling right after the world, like their own kind of karmic cycle where they have this potential for things to go really well in this connection. But I feel like it's almost like they make this decision to prioritize other things in their life that don't actually align with their heart. It could be a job, it could be friends, it could be habits, it could be literally anything. That keeps them from being able to fully show up in this in the way that you deserve. And it's not coming from this place of this person not wanting to. It's coming from this place of this person deciding time and time again to make the decision that aligns with their ego. Now, I think that, especially with the Queen of Swords and the Hierophant here, I feel like they see you as somebody who is very intelligent. I feel like they see you as somebody who is very, good for them, almost, in a way. But I also feel like you really challenge this person. I feel like you challenge this person to not make decisions rooted in ego and to make decisions that align with their heart, right? And that is something that scares a lot of people because most people are making decisions that aligns with their ego. Ego is not to be demonized. Its primary goal, it's survival, and your ego will always make decisions to keep you in the places that are familiar and to not ruffle the feathers of people who expect you to do that. Not from a place of that's actually what they want, but from a place of doing anything different is really terrifying. So I feel like this connection is equally something that makes them feel good because I do feel like you're different for them, but in like a positive way. But I also feel like it's something that really scares them. So because of that, there's that in and out energy, right? They feel the draw toward you. They feel that desire for the connection. They feel, what they want this to be is possible. But then as soon as this starts to question the ego's motive, or starts to challenge, I guess, the ego's motives and the ego's decision making, they pull back, they withdraw, they play it safe, if you will. And that energy has quite literally nothing to do with you. It's not because you're not good enough. It's not because you did something wrong. It's not because now they might project that on you, right? They might look for reasons to leave. They might look for reasons to withdraw. They might look for reasons to push you away. And I'm not saying you're perfect and you've made no mistakes, but, whenever your ego wants to push something away, it's going to look for every single reason to do so, even if that thing is good for you. And so I feel like what happens in this connection is that this person, has that desire, that pull, but then immediately withdraw because of that distance between what they really want and what their ego is pushing them to choose. Whatever that might look like, some sort of karmic cycle, some sort of karmic experience, even if that's being alone. Even if this person is used to being alone, used to surviving on their own, even if it is, like I said, like prioritizing a job or prioritizing friendships that cause them to, push away what's good for them, whatever the case might be. And I think that where Spirit is really going with this, and I said this at the very beginning, I said, I don't know if you're stuck, it's like you're trying to control something almost. I feel like you're trying to make this person choose what you think is right for them. And what you think is right for them might actually be what's right for them. I'm not saying it isn't. But you cannot make people do things that they straight up don't want to do. You can't make people do the things that challenge their ego if they're not willing to challenge their ego. because people are going to make the decision that seems the most safe for them, unless they're aware that that decision that they're making is ego driven. And most people don't want to realize that their decisions are ego driven. It's easier to project, it's easier to make excuses, it's easier to stay in exactly the same place. So I feel like what is making your life really hard is you do see that potential. You see everything that this could be, and you know that they see it too, and you know that they have desire, but you're actively watching them make decisions that go against that and going, what the hell are you doing? And I think that because of that, you're holding on to this hope of if they could do this, if they would just make this decision, if they would just, stop doing these things, if it's like, it could be addiction, right? It could be literally anything. They would stop doing these things, then things could be so good. And so you sit around and you wait. Not sit around and wait. That sounds like you're desperate or something, and I don't feel that energy from you at all. But I feel like you wait for that. You wait for that to change. You wait for this person to be the person that you know that they could be. And you continuously get your heart broken by the person that they are. And one of the biggest things that comes up in pretty much every single one of my readings, especially my relationship readings, is the let them theory, right? Let people be who they are. Let people make the decisions that they're going to make and decide for yourself, is this enough for me? Assuming that this person never changes, assuming that this person continues to make this mistake, continues to lose out on what they could have in love, what you can't do anything about that. So what can you do? Because nobody, and I mean this, Libra, no one single person in this world holds the key to our happiness except for us. If we want the love that we deserve, we can have that even if the person that we want it from doesn't choose it in us. That doesn't mean that that's our only choice. It means that it's the only choice that our ego currently sees. So when that's the case, we have to take a step back and we have to look at what is within our power, because we can't change other people. We can't make other people choose us, even if we know deep down that they want to, even if we know deep down that it's what's best for them. We cannot make other people do that. The only thing that we can do is make sure that we are choosing us, that we are making sure that we aren't keeping ourselves stuck in a cycle of being disappointed by who somebody continuously shows us that they are, instead of, accepting where they're at and figuring out for us, like, well, what do I do moving forward? What is the best way for me to handle this so that I can have the love that I truly deserve and desire, whether or not it's in this person? Because we can't change another person. And when we can't change a situation, we are always forced to look at how we can change ourselves. So we're going to dive deeper into this. You have unfinished business with Trapped. I'm going to look at the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Thank you so much, Libra, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in the way that you were needing today. And as always, Libra, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. Okay, bye, Libra.